Your weapon choices, as a player of Team Fortress 2, are extremely important. Not only are they a means of killing enemies, but they dictate how you play the game, and how others see you when you play. It's not just in official game modes where this statement applies. Believe it or not, zombie survival is treated just as seriously as the official game modes by many people, with some pledging their loyalty to the game mode. This means that stereotypes, whether inherited or new, have found their way into the minds of engineers and medics alike on these servers. I'm going to go over these in this video for each weapon, but there are exceptions to these stereotypes that I cannot predict or accurately observe, so don't take my word as gospel. We'll be starting with medic weapons, but if you want to see the engineer's arsenal, go to the times displayed on the screen right now. Okay, let's get on with it. You'd think that medics would use stock over all other melee weapons. I mean, it's the best option, so surely it's used the most, right? Well, unfortunately, that is not the case. Instead, medics who use stock are, most probably, veterans of the game mode. They've done the research and know that the bone saw and its reskins deal the most damage per second, thanks to the unaltered base swing speed. Therefore, they are the unsung heroes of zombie survival. Either that or they're completely new. You'll be able to tell from their cosmetics. The only reskin that doesn't follow this formula is the frying pan. Medics who use this either want to ear rape their teammates or they think that the pan has a higher crit rate than the other reskins, which is kinda stupid because 1, the pan has the exact same crit rate as the other melees, and 2, random crits are disabled in zombie survival, so there's no point in even trying.
If you see a medic using the Ubersaw, you know that they are part of the majority of zombie survival players. Ubersaw medics can fall into 2 categories, neither of which are exclusive. They may just have it equipped because they use the same weapon in casual mode. You may also be that kind of medic that repeatedly uses the saw through your bones taunt because they're either really great at getting cheap taunt kills or see other medics getting taunt kills and are hoping to have similar success, even though they don't know where to stand in the first place. The Ubersaw is only useful in situations where engineers have created a bottleneck that medics must pass through, but not a lot else.
A medic using the Widowmaker either doesn't know what they're doing or is having a joke that isn't inherently funny. Unlike the Ubersaw, this weapon sacrifices some of the user's health instead of their swing speed, so of course these players are going to be the weakest of the bunch. If you see a Widowmaker medic, just give them a gentle reminder to switch to stock. They'll likely listen to you.
Amputator medics are few and far between, but they're able to boost their team to victory in situations where it would be pretty much impossible. You'll see them hiding around corners or behind other medics, playing the violin over and over to heal their teammates and get some sweet assist kills. You can trust that these guys take winning seriously and care for the integrity of their team. Even if they've only temporarily switched to the Amputator, these medics can be great supporters or leaders, and their existence alone is a determining factor of a match's outcome. Treat these guys with respect, as you never know when their healing power might come in handy.
Switching to stock can be a hard transition to make, especially since the bone saw looks as bland as every other default item. The Solemn Vow is a trap that medics fall into when trying to switch to stock, with slightly better swing speed than the Ubersaw and the ability to see engineer health. These medics become affixed to the enemy health display, using it and it alone to judge their performance, rather than counting successful hits to track damage or following engineers by using their actual eyes. If you meet one of the few Solemn Vow medics that listen to player advice, tell them to quit using the weapon, just like you would tell someone to quit smoking, and hopefully you can cure another medic of this unfortunate illness. Well, 5 weapons in and the medic portion of this video is already done. If you know what the game mode is, you'll know that I can't talk about their primaries or secondaries because zombie survival strips medics down to melee. However, the engineers' weapons deserve a lot more attention, for there are no restrictions on their weapon choices, and the playstyle engineers choose can vary far greater than a medic's can. Let's just hope that you and any other engineers that you meet pick a reasonable playstyle. I don't want to have to continue spreading this information by my own word of mouth constantly. Okay, primaries. By default, I should be talking about stock first and then move on to the other weapons, but the Widowmaker is our starting primary as it's undeniably the best choice. Again, this weapon has a learning curve due to its use of metal for ammo. Most Widowmaker engineers can be found camped in proper defense spots, helping each other out by upgrading buildings and sharing kills. This strategy is often the key to surviving, so long as the defense spot chosen is of good quality. However, because the Widowmaker is the most used weapon, not too much can be found in the way of stereotypes for it, and some engineers completely defy these ideals by pretending they actually have the stock shotgun. Engineers with the stock primary tend to be far more aggressive than Widowmaker users. They love to get as painfully close to the medics as possible and relentlessly pummel them with their larger pool of ammo and get killed in the process. It usually ends up being, put simply, annoying as all hell. But don't judge shotgun users on their gun alone, for they might not follow this playstyle at all. Just like with the Widowmaker, some shotgun engineers are reserved and stick with the team, and are only using stock because they cannot cope with the sight of having a smaller ammo count, which is very close-minded of them since the Widowmaker draws ammo from dispensers and doesn't need to reload when it does. Come on guys, just learn to use the Widowmaker, it can't hurt.
The Frontier Justice is awful and has no redeeming qualities. It is a straight downgrade from the shotgun, and that's it. Engineers that equip this weapon have forgotten to switch their primary after playing on casual mode, and despite them telling you that the weapon might be good in the sentry's allowed bonus round, sentries can't be given ammo to shoot with, so they'll never get any revenge crits. It's also very likely that they've never even played the bonus round either, hence their opinion. Just give them a subtle nudge to switch to one of the first two options, unless they're one of those strange or Australian Frontier Justice mains, in which case you should just not attempt to convince them ever.
The Thompson 6000 is awful. It has no redeeming qualities. Engineers that use the Thompson 6000, unlike the Frontier Justice, are solely using it in order to joke around. They know it's a horrible weapon and are probably getting a kick out of other people's reactions to them using it. In all honesty, try to ignore their weapon choice and let their joke run its course.
The Rescue Ranger is awful and has no redeeming qualities. Are you starting to see a pattern here? It's a weapon designed for building support alone, and therefore is incredibly difficult to use on zombie survival, when buildings can only heal, and actually shooting enemies is a key part of the game. Its ability to heal buildings is also lackluster compared to the swing speed and damage output of the medic. Once again, Rescue Ranger engineers have forgotten to switch primary after playing on casual mode, and should be pointed to a better weapon choice.
These engineers are relics of the past. They use the panic attack before Jungle Inferno dropped, and they constantly hope that the weapon will be restored back to how it was beforehand, because it sucks now. Little do they know that using it only worsens the problem. Do you really think that Valve can hear you whining while you're holding the weapon in your grubby Texan hands? All they can infer from that situation is that you're one of the people that use the weapon, and by their logic, like the new changes. Just drop it all together. Rebel against our creators. I'm sure they'll eventually pick up on their mistake. I'm sure, honestly, whatever. I'll leave Jack to the engineer's secondaries.
Pretty much everyone uses these, and I mean, why wouldn't you? It's the only engineer secondary with a reliable damage output that rewards skill. So, I guess these engineers know not to be different? No, you can't make any sense of a person just from their pistol or lugomorph. That's like trying to write a detailed biography about someone's full life when you only have a picture of their hairstyle. Completely preposterous.
Good night, Irene. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. I need some doggone help.
Come over here. I promise I will heal you.
Help! Help me! Hell. Dag nabbit, damn it, nabbit, dag it.
Prepare for your examination.
When you see engineers holding the Wrangler, sitting in their lonely corner in fear as they watch as the medics surround them gradually, you just have to think to yourself, why? Why do they do this? I'll be square with you. Don't ever use this. Just like the Frontier Justice, the Wrangler and its reskins suffer because the game mode doesn't have functioning sentries. So these people are stuck with the absolute worst secondary to exist and be available for use in zombie survival. It does nothing! It does nothing at all!
These engineers have a knack for going out of their way to make you miserable. They love to plop themselves on top of their dispenser, or even beside it, and hold down that fire button like there's no tomorrow. You could say the short circuit is the Widowmaker if it was a secondary, but it's so much more degrading than you may initially think, and there's no way for me to accurately describe how annoying these engineers are to you unless you see them for yourself. The weapon's second fire is the worst part, as the engineer does not even need to aim while he zaps multiple people in a row through his dispenser. Holy hell! If you're sure the server they're on has no restrictions on the short circuit second fire, these people deserve to be banned. So find the right time to strike. Speaking of striking, it should be obvious to everybody that the Gunslinger is the most powerful and widespread melee weapon, and for good reason. It boosts your health from 125 to 150 and gives you situational crits, which, mind you, are different from random crits, which are disabled, and the downside of the mini sentry's size is negated because most of the time you don't even get the chance to place a sentry. Gunslinger engineers form the majority and can range in skill greatly, from top level to pure idlers, but at least these guys have their priorities set in motion.
Unlike other stock items, the Engineer's default wrench and its reskins pale in comparison to other melees available. It has no upsides, so what's the point in using it? Stock engineers just don't know the meta, or they're free to play and they'll learn to circumvent this on their own, or you can help them speed things up if you're willing to gamble your reputation.
The Southern Hospitality is the middle out of all the engineers' melees. It's not the absolute best weapon available, yet it's not mediocre enough to be considered a lost cause. Southern engineers are not top level players, but do have an established range outside of the god tier. Even so, times are changing, and the world would be a better place if they learned to switch to the Gunslinger, just while they play this specific game mode.
The Jag is awful and has no redeem. Yeah, you get it. A lot of weapons become useless when shoved into the world of zombie survival. This weapon gets used by engineers that believe the faster construction time and hit rate will allow them to get an advantage of fortifying bases, when in reality they have plenty of time and using it requires them to hit their enemies more times in a row for no good reason. Look, just don't use this, okay? It'll benefit both you and everyone around you if you stick to the weapons that fit the meta. Eureka effect. This melee has a pretty broad stereotype, but it is far from what any of us would like to hear about. Since the entire point of the weapon is to build teleporters fast and also teleport back to spawn, the Eureka effect attracts clueless free-to-plays, cowardly engineers who would rather leave their team to die in order to save their own lives, and trolls. Yes, Eureka effect engineers are commonly trolls. By building teleporters at extremely awkward places and destroying them once a teleport happens, they've found the easiest way possible of killing their own team members for their amusement, and they like to brush it off by pretending it was just an escape teleport. Like short circuit engineers, the worst of these guys should be banned, but make sure you know absolutely everything about them before making your accusation. They might turn against you. And that's it. All possible medic and engineer weapons covered and analyzed. I hope I didn't bore you with both my mumblings and those of my actors. If not, I'm glad to hear that. Why don't you smack that red button so hard it falls off its hinges? Helps me out, helps you out, win-win in my books. Other than that, I want to thank everybody who helped me with this project. It's been a pleasure working with you all, and I can very much say the same about you there, who have come this far into this documentary about a custom Team Fortress 2 game mode of all things. And until next time, something. This is the second time that tagline has failed me. Why am I still using it? I don't get it.